An 8-year-old gives all his savings to an old woman who misplaced her money outside a store. A week later, the old woman turns up at his doorstep with someone special, and she has a little gift of gratitude for the boy. Clink, 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 sounded Kevin's piggy bank as he gently hit it with his toy hammer. He looked at it with sad eyes, not wanting to break it, but he wanted to help Mrs. Murphy. "Look, I'm sorry, P-I-G-Z-Y. I'm going to break you because Mrs. Murphy really needs your help right now. I feel bad, but I guess I will be okay." And so Kevin picked up the piggy bank, closed his eyes, and tossed it on the floor. As his dear Pigsy was shattered into pieces, a clatter of coins filled the room. Earlier that day, Kevin was passing by the neighborhood park when he saw an ad outside Mrs. Murphy's house. It said the 88-year-old woman had lost $150 of her savings near their local grocery store, and she'd requested the finder to return the money to her as she really needed it. As Kevin stood there staring at the ad, an idea struck him. He hurried home to his piggy bank, Pigsy, and decided to help Mrs. Murphy. He didn't want to let go of the money he had saved all this while as he had big plans. However, he concluded Mrs. Murphy needed it more, so he gave it up for her. After smashing the piggy bank, he counted all the money, and there was $170 in total. He stuffed the $20 bill in his study table drawer, the rest in his pocket, and ran to Mrs. Murphy's house. When the older lady opened her door, she was surprised to see an 8-year-old in her doorway, a bright grin on his face. "Yes, honey, how can I help you?" "I got you money," cried Kevin excitedly as he pulled out crumpled dollar bills and coins he had retrieved from his piggy bank. "I counted it. It's $150. "Oh, honey, but did you find this outside the grocery store?" "No, I didn't," replied Kevin. "I had to break Pigsy, my piggy bank. I was saving this up for my skateboard, but that's okay. I'm happy to help you." Mrs. Murphy's eyes welled up with tears as she held the money in her trembling hands. "Oh, thank you. What's your name, little man? Do you live around here?" "I'm Kevin," he said. "I live a couple of houses away. I know you needed the money badly. Mrs. Murphy, I know you don't have enough money. Mom once told me you aren't rich." The older lady hugged him with tears in her eyes. "You have a heart of gold, honey. Thank you so much. I appreciate your help. I had saved that money to visit my newborn grandson, but after losing the money, I couldn't go. Now that I have it back, I think I'll visit my family." "Thank you. It's okay," replied Kevin. "Once you meet them, let them know I helped you." Mrs. Murphy smiled through her tears. Sure, I will." A week later, Kevin was in his room, watching his favorite show, when his mom called out to him. "Kevin, someone's here to see you." "Coming, Mom." Kevin dashed downstairs to the door and saw a young man standing in his doorway. Behind him was Mrs. Murphy, smiling. "Mrs. Murphy? And who are you, sir?" "Hi there, Kevin," replied Mrs. Murphy. "Thanks to you, I could see my grandson. This is my son, Peter, and we have a little present for you." Peter gave Kevin an envelope, which contained tenfold the amount he'd given Mrs. Murphy. It was $1,500 in total. "Oh God, that's a lot of money. We can't keep this," Kevin's mom said. "I don't understand why you're giving it to him. What did Kevin do?" Then Mrs. Murphy narrated the whole story, and Kevin's mom looked at her son teary-eyed. "Did you really do that, honey? Did you break Pigsy? But you loved him so much." "I loved it, Mom. But you always tell me we should help people in need." Mrs. Murphy needed the help, so I had to break it. And I am a big boy now, so I will miss Pigsy. "And not just that," added Mrs. Murphy. "Apart from Kevin, some other people also came to my house to help me. It was very kind of all of them, but Kevin is so young and thoughtful." His words just touched my heart, and I had to come back and thank him in person. "Oh, Kevin," his mom hugged him. "That's a wonderful thing you did, sweetie. I am so proud of you." "Mom, I'm not a baby anymore. Everyone's looking at us. This is embarrassing." He cried, and Mrs. Murphy and Peter laughed.